Copy him, doesn't matter. I mean, we're just gonna go for this, and if he has removal, he has removal. But it's our only chance of winning. Hey everyone, Raptorspank here, and we're back with On the Grind, the show where I cover a deck I'm playing in Ranked. I'll break down the deck, talk about some flex spots and basic mulligans, and then put it through some ranked matches and review how we do afterwards. Took a little bit of a break, but we're back, and we're back with a deck that I wanted to do previously, and I realize it's kind of the hated deck now, but it's also playable now. It's competitive enough now, whereas before it was getting hard slammed by all the decks, though. Caveat, that was when Fizzlusives and Aphelios was super broken and at the top of the meta. So things are very different now, and it's Matron Control. Everybody hates it. Well, that and the Nasus deck from the sounds of it. But wanted to give it a try. It didn't get its time in the sun that I wanted before, and I've kind of spent most of the season lamenting the death of control decks, and while I'm not a huge control player myself, aggro's kind of my wheelhouse, but I felt bad that we didn't see many control decks, so I would have been remiss not to cover a control deck finally reaching the upper echelons again and being really, really good. So for those of you unfamiliar, the basic combo of the deck is turbo level of Lissandra, get to that level, turn 8, get two 8 costs down. Typically speaking, that'll be like Trundle Pillar into, like Fading Memories, Trundle Pillar usually, play another one, and then you play Spectral Matron, copying the Watcher from Lissandra in hand and swinging with it that turn, obliterating your opponent's decks, and also hopefully all their chances and hopes of winning the game. So basically, it's just a control shell that's built around that combo. Your wins are actually fairly quick compared to other decks, so I actually find my average game time is a lot faster than you would typically see out of a control deck. Certainly faster than really, really slow control decks like Anivia Control, which is also in these colors. So it's, generally speaking, a really kind of neat combo-y control deck that uses the best of old Freljord Shadow Isles control decks and combines it with this new, faster package. So it looks a lot like, say, Field of Rush did originally, or just Anivia Control's another good comparison. Starting with that champion package, though, we do have those 3 copies of Lissandra. Essentially, she's our primary win condition for the deck. When she sees 2/8 costs, or she doesn't have to see it, but once you've played 2/8 costs creatures or had them put into play, she levels up, and then when you play her, she'll create a Watcher in hand, or as soon as she levels up, she'll create the Watcher in hand. And the Watcher is this giant beast of a unit that when it attacks will obliterate your opponent's deck so that they draw from an empty deck and die, hopefully, assuming they don't have a champion out in play and a champion spell in hand to just keep filling their deck. But in general, it should kill your opponent, hopefully, right then and there. And essentially what it is it's free if you've played 4/8 costs, which is actually pretty easy to do in the deck, but more importantly, we have ways to cheat it out, specifically Spectral Matron. Now, going into a little more of how we do that so quickly, we have 3 copies of Trundle. Essentially, Trundle gives us that great 8-cost pillar that comes down and refills the cost, so we can basically play one of these, copy it with something like Fading Memories, then play it again, so we get the double 8 costs without spending any mana, getting our Watcher in time to play Spectral Matron. We do have other ways to really accomplish what we're looking for, but this is one of the most powerful ones. And then just in general, Trundle's a great backup win condition because we do have a lot of 8-cost things that do work well with him to boost his damage output. So he's just kind of an all-around great unit that can do a ton of damage. He blocks very well because of regeneration, and it's just fits everything the deck's looking to do. As for the landmark package, pretty light, only 3 copies of Blighted Ravine, but this is just a really good board wipe that also gains us effectively 2 health. And it can just deal with a lot of things that our opponent might not be well set to deal with. And since it deals 2 damage to all targets, there are even times when this will help you close out the game by dealing the last 2 points of damage to your opponent's Nexus to kill them. You'd be surprised how often that does actually happen, despite not really being the game plan at all. As for the follower package, also pretty light. We've got 2 copies of Avaros and Sentry. This is just a pretty classic control shell unit. Essentially, it comes down on turn 2, so it gives us an answer for early aggressive decks, and it draws us a card, so it helps us dig towards our combo, which can be very, very important. And then from there we have 2 copies of Kindly Tavern Keeper, another classic for the control shells in Freljord. It gains us 3 life, it's a 3/3 for 3, so it comes down fairly quick. It blocks fearsome units and trades with a lot of effective units, while also gaining us life to make sure that we're not falling too far behind tempo. Then we have 2 copies of Babbling Bjerg, which is a guaranteed Spectral Matron find. We have a lot of tutors in our deck, and this is one of them. This gets us Spectral Matron 100% of the time. If you do level up a Trundle, I suppose, and you still have Trundles in your deck, it can hit Trundle in that case, but generally speaking, that's going to take quite a while to happen, and you'll have already played Babbling Bjerg by then, but do keep that in mind that if you do already have Trundle out, that is a possible find. But if you don't have the leveled up Trundle, it will get you Spectral Matron 100% of the time, which is our last follower in the package. 3 copies of Spectral Matron. Big combo piece of the deck. It does so much for the deck. The obviously big thing here is to try and use it to get a free Watcher out without even risking the other Watcher, so that even if your opponent can deal with the 1 Watcher, they won't be able to deal with the second. It's also worth noting too that if you go like Pillar, Spectral Matron, copying Watcher, then now the other Watcher in your hand is free. So if they have like Ruination, just destroy the whole board, you can then play the other Watcher for free, swing with it. They won't be able to kill it because they don't have enough mana left to kill it, and it'll just obliterate their decks and make sure that they are not having a fun time at all, which is the basic goal of the deck. But also too, this can help you get to that leveled up Lissandra as well, because if you have 2 Spectral Matrons in hand, which is not that hard to do when you're just drawing a bunch of cards by turn 8, and then also have Babbling Bjerg to find more, then you can always play Spectral Matron, copying the other Spectral Matron, which will level up your Lissandra, and then you still have a Matron in hand for the following turn to play and copy Watcher. So it's just really, really good in the deck. This card's been around since forever. It's been around since the very beginning, and this is really the first time it's ever been very competitive, so it is pretty cool to see that card actually doing something for once. Now on to the spell package, which is much, much more meatier than the other packages we've been looking at. We start with 3 copies of Fading Memories. This must seem really weird to see in a control deck, but it does so many busted things for our deck that we just can't help it. The primary thing, as I mentioned, is using it on, say, a Pillar to get a second one, so you can get 2 8 costs to level up that Lissandra without spending any mana. That's really great. You can also copy Spectral Matron to have extra ones in hand to copy Watchers more, or you can use it on the Watcher in case, say, you went all in, played your Watcher out of hand, and then they had some way to deal with it before it attacked. You can always copy the Watcher, and now you still have another copy in hand, and you're not out of Watchers, because you will never get Watcher back after you've played it, essentially, without copying it with Fading Memories, because Lissandra doesn't create more Watchers. Even if she dies and you play a new one, you will not get another Watcher. Keep that in mind. It's very, very important that you are very safe with your Watchers. Then we have 3 copies of Entreat. Since we are such a champion-focused deck, this is really important. Lissandra is our primary win condition, so we need other ways to tutor her out. And yes, it can hit Trundle, but that can even be good too for getting us the pillars in order to really, really combo off well. So it's just there for all around making sure we can hit our combo. Then we have 3 copies of Vile Feast. This is just a really good control piece. I probably don't have to explain it. It's been around since the beginning of the game, and it's still really, really good. Deal 1 damage to one thing, gain you life, and also create a blocker. Really powerful, really strong, just really good for dealing with the aggro decks that are pretty plentiful right now. And then we have 1 copy of Flash Freeze. This is just kind of a catch-all. There's a lot of things this will hit, so it's kind of good for that. And just basically blanking 1 major threat 1 turn, so it's really, really there just to catch some of the crazier threats you might see. Things like They Who Endure, for example. And then we have 3 copies of Avalanche, one of the best board wipes in the game, because if we bank mana, we can cast this on turn 3, which can be really, really good, especially against decks like Spider Aggro that have everything at 2 health or less, and aside from Elise, I should say, and they will often play things on turn 3, allowing you to wipe the board. So it's just the best board wipe available, really, really good. Then we have 2 copies of Catalyst of Eons. This is burst speed life gain, which is much better than most people would think, and it also ramps us so we can get to our threats faster. What's really important for this too is that it breaks the symmetry in the mirror matchup, so that if you are cursed like me and you never get attack on turn 2 into the Matron mirror match, you can use this to make sure that you can combo off on turn 7 before they get to combo you on turn 8. So can be really important. It's very hard to pull that off because of how taxing on your mana base it can be, so trying to get all of your pieces in place in time can be very difficult, but if you're banking mana, which you often are into the mirror match, this can allow you to somehow win even though the game won't give you that attack on turn 2. Then we have 3 copies of Withering Wail, very brutal into the aggro matchup, so obviously running 3 copies of it really, really strong, especially right now with Spider aggro being as plentiful as it is. This kills a lot of their threats since it can kill the Spiderlings, it can kill the Precious Pet, it can kill the Saboteurs, just kills a lot of things that they have while gaining you a bunch of life. So just really good for that, and discard aggro is kind of trending up there again at 1.2, and this absolutely destroys that deck. So it's a good catch-all, kind of board wipe, pseudo board wipe essentially, that gains you a bunch of life, and it can bring other things into range of, say, like an Avalanche board wipe. And then we have 1 copy of Harsh Winds, same thing as Flash Freeze, it's just kind of that catch-all for huge threats that we can't deal with otherwise, and unlike Flash Freeze, it'll hit 2 things at once, so that can be very important into certain matchups. And then we have the 2 copies of Vengeance, it's the catch-all removal for any threat in theory, so it's just a really, really powerful card, and it's great for killing Lissandra for when the game curses you and you don't get to attack on turn 2, so you have to prevent your opponent from killing you on turn 8. So it's just your good catch-all for any threats. And finally, 1 copy of Ruination. Never know when you'll need a really, really good permanent board wipe kind of thing, and Ruination's great for that. And especially it's good into the mid-range matchups. Those are the matchups where it's going to do the most work for you. Especially against stuff like Demacia, where your board wipes aren't going to line up very well against them, or say Braum Vlad that was trending around when I played this deck last. It's also good for dealing with units like that, because damage-based removal obviously doesn't do great against that kind of deck. So it's just a nice, neat catch-all. As for some of the flex spots, there's not a lot to do with the follower package. There's definitely a lot of things where you can move numbers around. You can go up Ruinations, down Ruinations, up Tavern Keeps, up Bjergs, up Centuries, move things around here, go down stuff like Entreat or Fading Memories. You can go down weird things like Flash Freeze. You can lose the Catalyst of Eon package to go up other removal. There's just so much you can do to kind of make it perfect for what you're seeing at that time. As for new followers you could bring in, I always mention Hapless Aristocrat. It's really not that great in this deck, especially because since Matron's going to be copying things, we can actually flood our own board out and prevent our own combos. So having something like this that replaces itself isn't always the best, but it does give you a turn 1 blocker that can then block another thing. So it is really good if you're seeing a lot of aggro decks, so that's something worth considering. I've also seen people run 1 of or more Iceveil Archers, usually just a 1 of, but really good for catching certain decks. Lee Sin was always a deck where that was big to hit. Nasus is also good because if it still works the way it always did, it gets around Spell Shield, so it can actually hit a Nasus that is leveled up and has that Spell Shield to prevent them from wombo comboing you that turn. So it can be good, but I personally don't run it because I kind of want to go a little heavier on other things like Bjerg for just making sure our combo goes off. And then finally, this is kind of a weird one, but we are 8-cost tribal, and this did pop up in some of the early Lissandra decks. I've lost to it more than once, but that Stairs, kind of a weird one, but essentially it gives you a board wipe at the 8-cost that also turns on Lissandra. So it's kind of a little bit rough to put in the deck, but it does give you that 1 extra 8-cost. Keep in mind, though, if you do this, that Bjerg is going to be able to pull this instead of your Spectral Matron, so you probably do start going down Babbling for that, since he's not really going to be a tutor anymore, and at this point you're kind of going a little slower than the more combo-oriented thing, because this is just a value 8 cost that you're not really necessarily looking to put multiple ones into play, although it's certainly not bad. But essentially it's just here to kind of be that cool board wipe that works towards our win condition. And then as for spells, there's a few more things that you can find justification for. I've seen a lot of people could put Glimpse Beyond in. I'm personally not a huge fan because our follower package is so light, and you don't really want to be sacrificing champions. It can be really good for clearing your board, though, if you have too many things, so there are times when Glimpse Beyond is just going to be amazing for being able to clear that out. And again, the big thing here is it draws you 2 cards, which can help you get to that combo, because if you don't find your combo, you are in serious trouble. So Having extra card draw is great. It just seems a little bit too easy, since if your opponent kills the creature that you're trying to kill, you're not going to draw any cards, and we just don't have a lot of creatures to use for it. So for me, I feel like it's too often a dead card in your hand in this deck, so I personally don't go with it. Definitely worth running, though. Another thing I've seen plenty of people run, usually replaces stuff like Catalyst or other removal like Flash Freeze, that kind of thing, is Grasp of the Undying. You can always replace the Withering Wail, but I definitely wouldn't do it in the current meta. But essentially, it's another 5-cost removal that gains you 3 life. It's just, instead of hitting a bunch of things, it hits one thing fairly hard, so it's good for removing big threats. So typically it's better into stuff like mid-range than, say, Withering Wail is, although Withering Wail can always be paired with something like Ravine or Avalanche just to kill the 3 health or more things that they have, but Grasp does tend to outvalue that a little bit in those matchups. And then something else I've seen, usually only as a 1-of or something like that, but I have seen variants of the deck running Atrocity. Basically, it gives you kind of an alternate win condition. It's particularly great with Trundle, but it can even catch someone off guard with a Spectral Matron, because we can do a decent bit of damage to our opponent, sometimes fairly quickly. So using this as a way to kind of catch your opponent off guard and get that last points of damage through can be pretty brutal. So it's something worth considering. I personally don't think it carries enough value for me to go with it myself, but I have definitely seen it used, and it would be much better for particularly the mirror match, because you can really catch them off guard with that and kind of win even when they're obliterating your deck by flinging something at them, because if they all in for that combo, then they won't be able to stop your Atrocity, so you can catch them with their pants down and win an unwinnable game. Now, as for some basic mulligans with the deck, it's really going to depend on what you're looking for, but you're going to usually want some form of combo piece in your hand, whether that's Trundle, Lissandra. You're not really going to keep Spectral Matron in your opening hand unless the rest of the hand is really, really solid, but otherwise you're going to look for one of your champions if you can find them. Against aggro, though, you're going to really look for early game action. Aggro is the deck where you don't actually have to focus on your combo, because as long as you can stabilize, you'll win the long run. It doesn't really matter how that is, as long as you're keeping your health full and killing all of their stuff. So things like Avalanche are amazing, Tavern Keep's amazing, Vile Feast is great. All of these things that can deal with them early and just buy you time to just basically run them out of cards and then just be like, whatever you play, I'm going to kill, and then eventually I'm going to find my combo and you're dead. So definitely keep that in mind. That's really, really good. A leveled up Lissandra is also phenomenal, because they're going to have a hard time removing her, and she's going to make your Nexus tough, which is going to be pretty backbreaking for them on just trying to close out that last damage. Now, as for mid-range decks, this is where things get a little bit trickier. I think this deck struggles the most against mid-range, at least in my experience I found that to be the case, because our removal doesn't necessarily line up great against mid-range decks, because the damage it's damage-based and the damage points tend to be low with 1 to 2 damage. But that said, Ruination, phenomenal here, Vengeance, phenomenal here, and then things that trade well, like Tavern Keep or Bjerg, are very good. You can always use Spectral Matron with like another Spectral Matron in hand to get 2 huge blockers on the defensive, so that's really good. And then Frostbite can be really good for break-in symmetry too. So just look for things that are going to either trade effectively or just hard removal that will deal with a threat no matter how big it is. As for control, it really depends on what you're going against, but in most cases, you're going to look for the combo here, because control has a really hard time dealing with this combo. If you're able to play Spectral Matron copying Watcher with the backup of playing the Watcher for free, pretty much any control deck's not going to be able to deal with that, because if they kill the first one, then they have to spend enough mana to kill that first one that they've got no mana left for anything else, so you can play another Watcher following that up and kill them with that. So just look for the combo, bank mana, get it out as fast as you can. Try to play Lissandra on turn 7 if your opponent can't kill her, because then that allows you to level her up on the next turn and still be able to play the combo, especially if you have the double pillar. So just keep that in mind. You're looking to combo off as consistently as you can anyways. Faster the better, but not always a requirement, especially against other control decks, say like Anivia Control, that are just going to be too slow anyways against you. And that's the deck for this week's episode. So if you're interested in my my list of Matron Control, you can find a deck link or a deck code in the description below, and let's jump into some ranked matches and see how we do. Oh no. First game back in a long time, it's going to be the mirror match. We probably lose, right? Attack 1, 3, 5, 7, so we lose, I think. I think we're pretty much guaranteed losing at this point. Because they get to attack on turn 8, and turn 8's the key turn. So what we need to look for, okay, rather than being doom and gloom, what we need here is we need some way to kill Lissandra on turn 8. Because that is how we live. Nah, that's a way to kill Lissandra on turn 8. Problem is, we don't have Lissandra. We kind of wanted early Lissandra. Semi-early Lissandra. We do have the Trundle part of the combo, but that really is not... Well, we have the Trundle and we have the Matron. I think we're actually good running this out. Okay, that can be bad for us. My opponent's actually pretty bad, though. I don't know why you would ever Catalyst in that spot. Like, now he's just down 3 health. He could have just waited and Catalyst afterwards. So that's pretty poorly played in general. So now we just play Bjerg, we pull the Matron. Oh lord, we could be dead a lot sooner. And though actually, they're nowhere near Lissandra yet at this point. And now I can, like, open swing for a bunch of damage. How punished am I? Yeah, we'll play Trundle first. I mean, we're not that far off to just, like, dying to whatever they do. So they have Matron too. Weird. Very weird that he took that. He has Matron, but he doesn't have Watcher. No alternate win conditions that I can see here, so maybe maybe the 9-mana spell. Oh lord, how's that escaping my mind at the moment? Feel the Rush? Yeah, Feel the Rush. Okay. Spectral Matron, copying Spectral Matron. And so that levels up Lissandra instantly. Okay. Neat. We're still really far off, is the problem that we have here. We can kill a Watcher. Okay. But again, the problem here is that my opponent can just combo off now, and if they have Fading Memories, we're pretty much just doomed. Okay, well they have the Watcher. So we're, like, basically our opponent ran nuts here, because they already have another Spectral Matron in hand, which they showed us by playing the Spectral Matron and copying another one. So they can Spectral Matron in a Watcher, which then obviously wins them the game. So I'm not really sure what we could do here. If I play him, then I'm down to 5 mana. That's probably not worth it. So I can kill this Lissandra. This deck is a little bit ridiculous, though, that he was able to do nothing for so long and still be able to just, like, instant combo off. Yeah, we didn't let's draw a card. Smart.
What will you have?
Okay. I mean, we weren't close to killing him with whatchamacallit, Atrocity anyways, but reasonably smart on his part. But I mean, he gets double Watcher next turn, so I think we just lose regardless what the outcome is here. We didn't find our Lissandra anyways, so yeah. Unfortunate. The better player doesn't always win. But first game back, we get the mirror match. I've played the mirror match twice, and I've always been on the attack turn 7, and that really is what determines the mirror match. It really comes down to who gets to attack on turn 8, more or less. Although we didn't find the Lissandra, so we weren't close to winning that game at all, but is what it is. On to the next. Anivia control. I think we're favored, right? They can keep stocking their deck, though. Trundle's good. Vile Feast, not so much. Catalyst is good, although, again, if we can't find... Okay, never mind, we're good. Alright, so the key here is to level up this Lissandra before we play her, probably.
You can see the Demacian border from here.
We can take a hit from that because we can Catalyst. We don't want to run out this Lissandra because she's going to die, and that's not what we want. Okay, Spectral Matron's not bad. It's part of the combo. Then we can play Trundle next turn, which is pretty sweet.
If they're out there, I'll spot them.
We need one more 8 cost, though. Okay, that's pretty good, actually. I can take the hit. It's worth taking the hit and playing Trundle rather than Withering Wailing there and drawing my opponent a bunch of cards. We're really looking for Fading Memories. Fading Memories would be crazy good for us.
Bow to your king. Look out for Reavers.
Do we just Withering Wail here? I feel like we almost might. I don't know if that's the right choice. But it gets us full damage. He doesn't take damage. We gain health. I mean, ideally we want to play Lissandra next turn. And the good thing is if he plays Anivia, ironically we almost want this Trundle to die. Okay.
Ages pass, yet I remain.
Frozen Tomb, countdown 2. The unfortunate thing is we can't actually play the Trundle now that we've played Lissandra. Unfortunate. Fading Memories off the top? Nope. Oh, he has to see us play the Ice Pillar? Ooh. Okay, well then we play Trundle first.
Do not embarrass me.
He can kill this Lissandra, because Grasping the Undying obviously kills her. Not that that's a problem, because we have the second Lissandra. That's why we ran her out early. Well, I mean, we swing here, right? Just to get the points in. There's no disadvantage to that. Okay. So now we play Ice Pillar. Okay, Anivia. Yep. She's not leveled yet. So she doesn't kill this Lissandra. Actually, she doesn't do anything to Lissandra yet. And we can block with Trundle, because he doesn't actually die to this. So I can actually block that and then kill it with like Withering Wail or Avalanche.
I bring the storm.
Okay.
A world in perfect stillness.
Boom, level up.
Embrace the cold.
Got our Watcher. Okay, what can he do that would prevent us from winning next turn?
Embrace the cold.
Putting more cards in his deck? Putting more cards in his deck would work. Do we just kill this Anivia because we can? I think we do. Okay. That, well,
Then kindle anew.
doesn't necessarily make a big difference. I could blight it just to blow that up. Not worth it, though.
Succumb.
Oh, we do actually... We have too many things on the board right now. Ooh. Oh, I didn't actually think about that. Oh, I can't actually fix that problem, can I? That is a problem.
Smashing!
Plans within plans.
One smack'll do.
Okay, that worked.
We rise anew.
And then I can Ice Shard to kill everything.
Turn to us.
So in this case, we should Avalanche to kill this, and then Ice Shard kill everything? Did we screw anything up? I suppose yes. I should have Vengeance my own unit. That was the big mistake we made this game. We'll see if they can punish me for that.
Stinging cold.
Scariest things like a Harrowing. Although Harrowing still only gives them 2 Anivias at this point. Funny enough. Do we play Blighted Ravine just to try and kill them? I mean, it takes itself out of the equation. So it's probably worth it. Because it's going to drop him to 3. So we're getting closer to actually just killing him with combat damage. As wild as that is. And Ice Shard now kills both of these Rekindlers. So what we have to make sure is we don't develop our board anymore, except for, like, we can play this other Blighted Ravine. We can play that. I don't think we can die this turn, because, like, even if he brings back 1 billion Anivias, each one's only going to do 1 damage thanks to Tough.
We burn.
There's a Anivia.
The Freljord's eternal guardian.
You want to clean my board for me? So that swings 2 damage down to 2. If I Ice Shard, he's down to 1. We don't get more Watchers by playing another one, right? Okay.
Snow, wind,
Pulls
and
this. Yep.
Come to the light.
I mean, we can lose the Lissandra, right? Although, is it worth losing Lissandra when we can just do this and keep both? Oh, this actually has him dead. If he can't gain life, that has him dead. To this Blighted Ravine. Are we gonna win through Blighted Ravine because we screwed up and didn't combo correctly? Oh no. Oh no. Hey bud. Life gain? That's pretty good life gain. That is pretty solid life gain. Our Lissandra dies next turn too.
succumb.
Okay. We do get another Ice Shard before Lissandra dies. We play this and we copy Watcher. Okay. Nice. So we obliterate his deck, and then he harsh wins. Hitting these two.
I protect this place.
Oh, is he gonna take the 1? That'd be wild. Because in theory he can keep looping harsh winds. This has him lose his Anivia though. Okay. Oh wait, yeah, he doesn't lose Anivia. Okay. Yep. Well, we do the fleeting ice shard. Well, we almost have an 8/8 trampler as well. Okay. Okay. So we don't want to play Lissandra yet. Okay. Block like this. Take the 2. Then we play Lissandra. Oh, he's gonna start doing this now. I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. Oh, I guess because he would die if he didn't do that. He would die. He has to cast Harsh Winds every single turn or he dies. Man, a Trundle Pillar would be so great because then we could, like, double Matron. And then he's really in trouble. Okay, well, you're dead to a number of different things now. Which is the goal.
You will do as I command. A new era begins.
Ruination. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's reasonable. That was such a poorly played game on my part, but you know, we got there in the end. Oof. We'll take that though. On to the next. Oh god. The mirror match again. Alright, well, can we attack on turn 8? Nope. This is unreal, man. We have the worst luck ever of all times. Alright, well, find a way to kill Lissandra. Okay, perfect. Alright.
Nothing escapes my watch. For the homestead.
Draw me a card? Nope. Okay. Shucks. Oh. Big shucks. Well, we get Matron next turn at least. But we are super far at this point from actually accomplishing our combo because we don't have Lissandra and we don't have Trundle, both of which are kind of important pieces to the combo. So this is another one where we're actually pretty well built to not lose to the fast combo from them, but since we're not doing anything to combo ourselves, kind of still a problem. Yeah, there we go. That's the first part.
If they're out there, I'll spot them.
Well, they might give me something that I can copy with Fading Memories. Ironically. Now we have to be able to kill Lissandra next turn. No matter what happens. Yeah, we're not taking damage from that. We have to bank full mana here. Okay. Draw champion. Trundle comes down now. Okay. So by banking full mana, we can actually play Lissandra and Vengeance, in theory. Which can be good for turbo leveling our own Lissandra. I don't think he can combo kill us next turn regardless of what happens. I think we have to kill her. And just hope he doesn't have a second one. Because if we let it lit... Oh, okay, so he has the second one, it doesn't even matter. So now he Spectral Matrons and instant levels her up. Although then he can't actually Spectral Matron kill us. I guess we should have played Lissandra there.
Ages pass, but I am eternal.
Okay, so he can't kill us this
You
turn,
will do as I command.
is the good news. So what I can do then is... Actually, is that worth copying my own thing? I don't think so, right? Like I should just run out a Matron at this point? Because I can always copy Watcher. Oh, we're in trouble. We need to play Lissandra last turn. Oh. Is there a way for me to get out of that? Because I definitely screwed up.
King of Trolls coming through.
A Lackwit with a stolen
Oh yeah, we messed up big time.
You're safe with me.
Yeah, I can take the hit. Well,
Secrets hidden by frost.
that's unfortunate. We misplayed because we forgot to play Lissandra the turn we had to.
I'm gonna make a U-sickle.
Because all he has to do is kill our Lissandra right now.
King.
And then we can't actually combo off. I mean, if we're lucky and he doesn't... Oh, man. And he doesn't have a way to...
You're in troll lands now.
Although that said, we also don't have board space now. So I think we're just like pretty doomed, right?
You will do as I command.
Okay. What are the chances? So I mean, if we let him go to his next turn, we just lose, correct? So we just have to hope he doesn't have Vengeance or Ruination. I mean, we're not really...
It's always cold in the Freljord.
Copy him, doesn't matter. I mean, we're just gonna go for this, and if he has removal, he has removal. But it's our only chance of winning. Yep, and that's game. Unfortunate. Oh, we screwed up by not playing the Lissandra. Although we filled our but if we played Lissandra, we play the Spectral Matrons, level her up instantly, and we're in much better shape. So yeah, we played that very, very poorly, and unfortunately it cost us in the end. Wow, this is such a terrible time to be playing the game. Holy crap. Are you serious? I've played this matchup 4 times and I've never gotten to attack on turn 4. This is nuts. This is actually obscene. Alright, we have 2 combo pieces. Sorry, this is a combo piece because when the game screws us and we keep attacking on turn 1, 3, and 7, then we have to have the Vengeance or else we lose the game. So,
They're out there.
and we might still lose the game, to be quite frank. This is absolutely absurd. This is the biggest pile of crap I've ever seen. Like, give me a chance, man. They've given my opponent the critical advantage every single game. Clearly we should be playing aggro.
Things trapped in the ice. Nothing a little steel can't do.
Yeah, I guess. We'll just ramp. Used all of our banked mana to do that, but... we are now technically attacking on turn 8.
Trolls are going to war.
Not that it matters. I mean, I'm not sure how we could combo off at that point. Catalyst did break it, but we have to run like runner here. We have to draw Lissandra and then some other 8 cost or like a second Spectral. But we have to draw Lissandra this next turn.
Far and clear.
I don't think we're terribly good off swinging with this Trundle. Oh, I should have swung with these two. So I guess we Avalanche, just to draw us cards. Yeah. We're literally just doing this to draw 2 cards.
Like the signal fires.
Ugh. Well, Dream is dead. So I guess we're still in the Vengeance Lissandra next turn plan. Well, we can level up this Trundle at least. Oh, we can level up Trundle and kill Lissandra next turn. And he can't level up Lissandra next turn. That's the important thing here.
You gotta believe me.
Okay.
Oh, you
Sure.
your stories.
You're in troll lands now.
Okay. But we don't have the fading memories, sadly. And unfortunately, we can't pull this Lissandra.
Get ready for a beatdown.
Let's talk about your dad.
Ice to meet.
Okay. Well, we can kill Lissandra without him playing another one. So now we entreat. Draw another Trundle. That's super unfortunate. And then we kill his Lissandra. Oh, come on, man. Give me a little more luck than that. Okay. So, we shouldn't be seeing a Watcher next turn, regardless of what happens. That said, we also won't be seeing a Watcher next turn. So, that's a little tragic. If he kills my Trundle, that's actually good for me, because then I can play another Trundle and get another Ice Pillar. So, I would love for him to do that. Okay. Weird. So now, the other Lissandra that was in his hand is now in his deck, but that's not going to come back next turn, so... Okay, sure, we're fine with that. Flash Freeze actually can be fairly good for me here. Although maybe I want my Trundle to die. Okay, so his Lissandra is not quite leveled up yet. But again, we don't even have Watcher, so it doesn't even matter. Like, the game's gonna be over regardless. We're kind of hoping he kills our Trundle, because that gives us an easy way to get our 8 costs up.
I'll knock 'em dead. This is gonna be
That's unfortunate.
fun.
Can I actually... Does she copy the Icequake? Is it worth killing him? Might be worth killing him.
Come on, come on!
I mean, we're not really going to be able to Vengeance and do something else next turn, so... But this means that we are just, like, giving up the Lissandra combo to him. We could use Trundle's Icequake to buy us an extra turn. Okay, yep. So Lissandra will level up next turn. Spectral Matron, no value. So that means he doesn't have a Spectral Matron in hand.
More than mortal.
Good to note.
You will do as I command.
Okay. What can we do here? Spectral Matron, copy Spectral Matron. That's pretty slick. So now at least if we find a Lissandra, we'll level up. Kill spell? Vengeance? Something like that? I mean, now we do kind of want our Trundle to live, so we can Trundle's Icequake. Treat? Okay. That's not too concerning.
Smashing! Get ready for
Boom, big behold. Does he have another way to copy Watcher? I guess he didn't, so he had to draw it this turn or next turn. I mean, Trundle could give him another 8 cost? If that's what he found? I have a feeling he went runner, though. And if he has, like, Babbling Bjerg, then he's fine anyways. Of course, we're kind of clearing his board for him, which is also a problem for us. He's trying to decide if he wants to Vengeance this Trundle. Oh, and he does. Okay, so if we do this, he's down to being able to combo. Oh, I can't Frostbite my own unit? That's... Ooh. Okay, that's unfortunate. We really wanted that Trundle to live.
Embrace the cold.
Did he draw another Spectral Matron at some point? I feel like he probably didn't, or else we would have seen it already, but he could just be slow playing. And that buys us time.
the trolls are going to war!
Maybe that was stupid of me to do that.
Ice to meet you!
So that will be the one more... Oh wait, no. He needs 2 more 8 costs.
Dead. One smack'll do.
So he saw Watcher plus Ice Pillars because he went 5, 6, 7 plus 1 more. Do we think like another Trundle in hand maybe? Ruination? I feel like that was a good turn for him to Ruination though if he had it.
As I command.
You're in troll lands now.
Please tell me he Ruinations right here.
Can't handle a little cold.
Ages pass, but I am eternal. Ages pass, yet I remain.
Oh man, this is one of those moments where it's just like there's no good answer here.
The ice is melting.
Because if we play this Watcher, he could kill it.
This is gonna be fun.
Okay.
Troll out.
Stinging cold.
Okay. We're looking for, like, vengeance here. We are looking for vengeance here or a champion spell.
Embrace the calm.
That's what we're really looking for. That only copies a follower, which would have been worth something last turn. No, we're on past territory now. Okay, he's trying to draw to something new. So he doesn't have it, but he's looking for it.
If they're out there,
Okay. So this clears itself, and it clears these two out.
safeguard our homes. One snack'll do.
That's unfortunate. We kind of wanted to kill this. Okay. Sketchiest game I've ever played in my life. Let's see what they got. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Now, he could have extra champions in hand. So that's how he gets out of this.
I command. Succumb.
Oh, I was counting on Ravine's trigger to happen after these got frostbited, but I guess that's not how the game works. Unfortunate. Wow. So he didn't have the champion spells in hand then, I assume? Oh. Oh, wow. I feel like we stole that game. I feel very, very heavily like we stole that game. But yeah, we will we will take that. As much of a theft as that is. On to the next. Okay. That's something different. Spider aggro. Alright. Well, we should be favored, I think, in this matchup. These two are good. Maybe we keep one Trundle just to sort of have the combo in there. And he's not awful in the matchup. Oh, that's perfect. This is a phenomenal hand. Yeah, we're gonna take a chunk this turn, but that's fine.
In position.
We're just gonna fire that right away. Kills that and gives us one blocker. Yeah, we can't block that, but that's fine. We can take the 3 and then avalanche kill it. Perfect. That's beautiful. Ciao, Bella. So far, so good, but it can turn at any moment. That's a really good find right there. Am I willing to take that trade? No. So the thought here is he can always, like, House Spider, and then next turn, Frenzied Skitterer. And so this can still block the House Spider, at least. Even though it won't be able to block this or the Frenzied. Oh, that's phenomenal. Boom. Boom, round 2. I feel like an early scoop is coming out of my opponent, but we'll see. Ooh. That feels bad. As someone who loves playing aggro, I do feel bad for my opponent right now. Those are some pretty feels bad plays there. Ooh, Blighted Ravine too on top of that. Yikes. Okay. Oh, that's actually a good way for him to refill. Because he was definitely starting to really get in the tanks there, so... Ooh, is that what he found? And that's a good one. I mean, we have all this life gain, so I'm not terribly concerned yet, but that was a good find if that's what he found. Now, we don't have the Lissandra yet. If we find it this turn, then... Oh, Lord. Although, that said, I can't... Unless I top deck Fading Memories. So I can play this plus Withering Wail?
On the horizon.
Okay, that is what he found. Not bad. Not bad.
Brilliant.
Let's see what he goes for. Well, he might Withering Wail here. Okay, I think it's probably worth Withering Wailing just to gain us some health here. We do have another Withering Wail, which now we're kind of in the point that we can't really take risks with it. We're pretty far from comboing off right now, but that's fine. As long as we're keeping ourselves alive, then we don't really care about comboing off, per se. My opponent's down to 2 cards, so I mean...
I'll knock 'em dead.
Yeah, we have him dead fairly quick.
Beat down.
I think Harshwind's something we wanna save. That's unfortunate. For my opponent, not for me. That's game. That's game. He's empty-handed. There's nothing he can do at this point. I love that deck, and I know it really, really well. And there's no coming back from that. Yeah, see, he knows too. That was brutal. that was very brutal. Oh, well, at least we got one non-Matron controlled game. Oh, Lord. That was some of the worst selection of 5 games ever. And I played so poorly in most of them, but at least we ended on a high note. Nice. Hey everyone, Raptorspank here, and how did we do in today's matches? Well, we went 3-2. I'm going to chalk up some of those losses to just being out of the loop for a while. I mean, I knew Matron Control was good and all that, but I didn't really play much last week. I was really just trying to enjoy a week and a half off. Been playing a lot of Wild Rift. For anyone who saw my video, you probably already know that. But came back to it. Definitely made some mistakes. That one Matron Control game was probably winnable had I played better or played cleaner. So we probably could have gone 4-1 if I was a little less bad in general. But still, 60% win rate, 1-2 against Matron Control, and then obviously the win against Anivia and Spider Aggro. And the big idea behind Matron Control is that it should stop the Spider Aggro and other similar aggro deck matchups. So that's kind of the reason for it to see a resurgence right now, which is why I'm running it. Despite the fact that the last time I played this deck, I talked about how bad it was, and I didn't do it for on the grind because it was bad. Now, that is to tell you the overall win rate for the deck for me playing in ranked this season is 38% with 5 wins and 8 losses. Now, almost all of those are on a previous patch, specifically pre-Fizz Elusive's nerfs. So that's kind of a big deciding factor in that, so I'm not terribly concerned about that win rate, the overall, because obviously it's a totally different time right now. And that's why Matron Control's a lot better than the last time I played it, and when I said it was trash, because it was then, because even Fizzlusives was running over it, which is pretty ridiculous, considering that the whole point was to beat that kind of deck. So I had losses to that, and like Zoe Aphelios, and a number of other decks that got nerfed, so the 38% overall is a bit misleading, so I do think the deck's in a decent spot right now, although I don't expect it to have a crazy win rate. I do expect it to be sort of towards the middle, although right now, looks like you're going to be playing a lot of mirror matchups. I wish I had better matches to show you, but due to some real-life things, kind of was feeling sick this week, so didn't get to record as many videos as I had hoped. So, or as many games as I hoped, I should say. So, only the 5 games, and 3 of them are Matron. Sorry for the really boring gameplay. At least if you're anything like me. Although, that said, it's one of the fastest control mirror matchups, so that's kind of nice. And it is a competitive control deck right now, so that's really cool to see. I've been talking about for a while how I was a little bit sad that there weren't competitive control decks, so it's cool that one is starting to make its way back to the top, so that's always really, really cool. Obviously, you probably already know the deck, but if you like control, if you're looking for control, or you just want to play Lissandra combo, sweet Watcher stuff, this is obviously the deck for you. I have seen some interesting Watcher decks using Shurima to, like, turbo Watcher out, but that said, I think this is still the most consistent shell for it, and it's just going to do well against especially aggro decks, which there were a lot of them a couple weeks ago, so I think that's why we saw it rise towards the top, and then obviously the seasonal tournament pushed it a little bit further into people's minds. But yeah, Matron Control. It's a solid control deck if that's what you're looking for, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more Legends of Runeterra content.